Hello and welcome to Patch Math, where today we are going to patch your math knowledge on coterminal angles. So I always like to introduce to students why they need to know this. If you're in pre-cal, you're going to be learning about the unit circle fairly quickly. And in order to use the unit circle, we will find that our angles have to be restricted between 0 and 0 degrees and a full rotation of 360 degrees, because that's all that's represented on the unit circle. We don't go below 0 and we don't go above 360 degrees. That being said, we also have our measurements in radians here. And so this is 0 radians. If it doesn't have the degree symbol, you automatically know it's radians. And if we do a full rotation in radians is 2 pi. So what you actually found there, whether you're aware of it or not, is that 0 degrees and 360 degrees are coterminal angles, and that 0 radians and 2 pi radians are coterminal angles. All right, and with that being said, there's one more thing we want to learn about coterminal angles and how they appear on the unit circle. It's both the positive and negative direction. You'll notice that whenever I start talking about an angle measure, start my angle here on the x-axis, and then I open counterclockwise. So for example, opening counterclockwise 90 degrees is that angle right there. Counterclockwise ends up being the positive direction. Notice we move 30, 45, 60, 90. All of these increase as we go around. But we do have negative angles as well, and negative coterminal angles. And so we can take that very same angle measure and represent it negatively. So we start at that very same spot, but instead of opening counterclockwise for the positive angle, we're going to be opening clockwise. Clockwise is negative direction here. We rotate around, well, we moved minus 90 more, minus 90 more. We get an angle of negative 270. Well, negative 270 is coterminal to 90. Now that we got the negative and positive directions written down, remember, clockwise is negative, counterclockwise is positive. Let's go ahead and park that unit circle off to the side. We will come back to it. On this problem, notice that we are dealing in degrees, and we have a degree that's bigger than 360. We have 441 here. So if you're finding coterminal angles, anything greater than 360 degrees or 2 pi, we subtract multiples of 360 degrees until we find a coterminal angle between 0 and 360 degrees. Look at all of those spelling errors. I'll fix those. Then the same for anything less than 0. All right, so notice I made that look all nice. So anything less than 0 degrees, we will add. All right, so we'll add multiples of 360 degrees until we find a coterminal angle between 0 and 360 degrees. So in this case, our angle is 441. It is greater than 360 degrees, so we're going to take 441 degrees, and we're going to subtract 360 degrees from it. Now, it is important to know we can actually write this as 360 degrees times c. All right, anytime we've been doing a new variable and we want to define it, it is super important, where c is an integer. We can only have whole rotations. We don't do half rotations. So yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So we can only do full rotations and not partial rotations. So C cannot be a decimal or a fraction. It must be an integer or something that is either positive or negative in whole in value. In this case, our C is equal to 1. this right here will represent all coterminal angles. In fact, we can plug in any C in existence, and it's going to give us every single coterminal angle to 441. So we're going to go where C equals 1. And we're just substituting that in there. You may be wondering why I'm adding that layer of complexity is because you'll be expected to write some of your answers where they represent every coterminal angle that could exist. In this case, we know one rotation is going to get us between 360 or 0 and 360 degrees. In this case, this angle is equal to 81 degrees is a coterminal angle. It's 81 degrees. Now, unfortunately, 81 degrees isn't on our unit circle. So this is not a problem that we would be using a unit circle for if we were asked to find like the tangent of 81 degrees. We'd have to get creative here. But this is why we need to know coterminal angles, is to get them on that unit circle. And sometimes you do all that work and find it's not actually on your unit circle.